Before we get into it, I want to direct you to the index. It's in the description. That breaks down each topic. It's going to save you time. You don't have to watch the entire tutorial if you're gonna wanna just install it on your iPhone. How's it going, everybody? My name's Eric, and welcome to the Brother Laser Printer Mega tutorial. In this video, we go over so much information from setting up the printer to installing it on your Mac, on your iPhone, on your Android device, a Windows computer, wirelessly, initial setup, things you're gonna need to do to your printer right off the bat to save you frustration and headache in the future. Specifically, the model that we're working on is the Brother HL-L2350DW. This printer right here. However, it will work with other models such as the HL-L2340, the 2360, the 2370, and many other printers because there's so much overlapping features and technology that Brother uses for different models in different regions. This video will be helpful beyond the scope of just this model. I do encourage everyone to watch the setup beginning part of the video and then go to the specific device you're trying to install so you can learn all these basic setup things about your printer, or just skip to the section as needed. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions at any time during the video, put them in the comment section. I will try my best to get back to you. This is a great device, but if you don't do something correctly by following a certain step, or you type in one thing wrong, it can be a headache of frustration. So that's where this video comes in, to make your life a little bit easier and more enjoyable. So thank you again for watching, and let's get into the tutorial. The first thing we're gonna do is install the toner cartridge that came with the printer. It comes in a silver bag. I've already opened mine, and then there's some orange plastic that protects parts of the toner while in transit. You're gonna wanna remove that. But before we install the toner, I do wanna show you a couple things. This cartridge right here contains a powder. The black powder is a really fine plastic material that bonds with the paper, and that's kind of how it works. Eventually, the powder will run out. And the way that you change the toner cartridge is you take this whole unit out, you press down on this green button right here, it unlocks the toner cartridge, and you can replace this itself. This is the starter cartridge that it came with. You can replace this whole unit with a original Brother with a third party, or you can refill it yourself, which I will show in a future video. By removing some plastic here, you can barely see, there you go, you can barely see this white cap right there. We're gonna remove that, and we're going to fill it with a powder. You can buy these toner refill kits that have squeeze bottles to squeeze some toner into your cartridge, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I will put a link to this in the description. I got it off Amazon. I think it was like $7 or $8. Highly encouraged to learn about toner refills rather than buying the cartridges. It's a cost savings. Another thing about these cartridges is they are chipped now, meaning that this little circuit board right here holds and reads information about how many pages the printer is printed, and eventually what they think is the life of the cartridge is reached. It will stop working until you change the cartridge. However, there is a setting on this printer that I'm going to show you later on in the video that you have to change in order to bypass the hard lock on the chip. Super important, so definitely stick around for that part of the video. Now that I showed that to you guys, I'm gonna put this back in here by pushing this forward back into where it sits, and then pressing down, it locks in. And now installing the toner cartridge, you're going to pull back on this front door. There's no locking mechanism. It's just held in by friction. And then you're going to place this cartridge in with the Brother side up. You just slide it in and kind of push it forward. It kind of makes a clicking noise, but not really. You just push it straight in and then close this front door, and that is how you install your toner. So now that the toner is installed, I'm going to show you what you need to know about the paper tray. There is a little cutout handle here. You just pull straight towards you, and that removes the paper tray from the printer. This holds 250 sheets of regular thickness paper, which is half of a ream. And then the way that you set this up is by pulling on these green tabs right here, and it will adjust the width and it will adjust the length of your paper. So we're gonna be installing 8.5 by 11 letter paper. So we'll hit this green tab, pull all the way to legal letter, and then pull this green tab right there to line up with LTR right there as well. As you can see, it's a pretty near perfect fit. If for one reason or another your paper is not one of these presets, you can just move it accordingly. And if you're setting this up for legal paper, you're gonna press this gray little plastic switch right here while pulling to extend the back of the paper tray to fit that legal paper. That's a nice little trick that if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. So we're gonna be using 8.5 by 11 here, and to reinstall the paper tray, you guessed it, you just push it straight forward into the printer and you should be good to go. Before we get into the next section, I do wanna show you this front manual feed tray. You can put any index card or a single envelope or a second type of media that you're not normally using for a one-time use into this front manual feed tray. We will go over this later on in the video, but I figured I would quickly show it to you right here while we are talking about paper feeding options. This flips up, this flips down, just like that. If at any time your printer has a jam for some reason, there's mostly 3 ways that you're going to remedy it. The first is taking the paper tray out, looking in there for a piece of paper sticking out, and then pulling it if you can. The second way is going to be taking your toner cartridge out by pulling that front door, pulling that whole drum unit and toner cartridge out, looking in there for a piece of paper, and then pulling it out manually. And the third way is from the back. You're gonna pull down right here, look through the back and see if there's a piece of paper crumpled or jammed right there and pull it out accordingly. Those are the 3 main ways to attack a paper jam with this specific printer. Now that your toner's installed, your paper's installed, you know how to clear a jam. We're going to plug the printer into the wall and it will make some booting noises as it initializes. So before we do anything, I want to show you 2 super important settings that if you don't do, you are going to be frustrated and annoyed in the future. The first setting is to change deep sleep to off. As you can see, it says right here on the screen, it cannot receive signals from your phone or your computer when you're sending it wirelessly. You'll have to wake it up by hitting the power button, and that puts it into regular sleep mode. Now, in order to turn off deep sleep, we're gonna zoom in on the menu and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. You can cycle through the different menus right here using up and down. We're going to cycle through to general setup, then we're gonna hit OK. And then on this next menu, we're going to hit down to find ecology, and then we're going to hit OK again. Then we're going to cycle down to sleep time and then hit OK once again. And then once you're on this menu, it should say a number of minutes. You're going to have to do this secret down and back at the same time, and then it brings you to the deep sleep menu. Now that you're on the deep sleep secret menu, you're going to hit OK. As you can see that it's on, we're going to hit down and turn it off and then hit OK once again. You'll get this accepted message, and that means you have turned deep sleep off. That is the first thing you need to do before setting up anything else on this printer. The second thing you're gonna need to do is to change that toner settings so that when the toner is deemed unusable, that it's still gonna continue to work. And I'll show you how to do that right now. Back out to the beginning menu, and then you're going to go to general setup again and then hit OK. Down, 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 down to replace toner. And then you're gonna hit OK. And as you can see, it says stop right now. We're going to hit down and change it to continue and then hit OK. It says accepted. That setting changes the printer to where it thinks that it might be out of toner based off of the chip on it and how many pages it's printed to allow the printer to continue printing. One more thing I forgot to mention, if you notice your printer printing light or streaky, you can remove the toner cartridge and you can shake it to kind of distribute out more of that toner powder, and you can do that to really get the most out of your cartridge before you refill it or you replace it, just to squeak out as many pages as possible. This front manual feed tray is for kind of like one-off or weird media that you're not normally going to be printing from. So if you want to print on like a half sheet label, you would open that up all the way to the guides and you would put it in. You would just slide it in and you'll feel it grab. The printer will grab it, meaning that it like knows that it's there. I don't know if you saw that, but let me pull it out. I'm gonna put it in and it grabbed it. You see that? That means the printer knows that it's there and the next document that you send to it will print from this manual tray right here. You could use it for one-off Avery label sheets. You could use it for these priority mail label 228s. You can adjust it accordingly, put them in like that, or you could even print on an envelope if you want to do that. The path of the paper through this feed tray, it's a different path than the bottom, meaning that you can get things like the envelopes through the printer and print them with less going through rollers and getting jammed if it's a piece of paper that won't print through that bottom feed tray. So a lot of printers have this feature. That's kind of a basic of how you use it, and your mileage may vary of when and where you need to use it. Now that we got all that set up, we're going to be connecting this machine to our home Wi-Fi, our network. We're gonna go over two methods. One is using WPS, where we set up a sort of automatic connection on the printer, an automatic connection on my router over there, and they're going to link together and it shares the password, automatically connects them two together. The second way we're gonna do it is if you don't have a WPS button on your router or you can't get it to work for some reason, we're gonna manually enter our Wi-Fi password on this menu. It's a pain, but you should only have to do it once unless you update or change something to your router. Once it's connected, we'll be able to install it on every machine that is connected to our network: iPads, iPhones, Androids, Windows, MacBooks, anything, just as long as this is on the network. So in order to do that, we got to go back to the screen. Now we're going to navigate down to network. We're gonna hit OK. You're going to see, as you can see, there's a couple different options here. WLAN, Wi-Fi Direct, Network Reset. We're gonna go to WLAN, hit OK. Here we see a couple different menus. You get TCP/IP, Setup Wizard, WLAN Assistant, WPS with pin code, status, MAC address, enable, TCP/IP. So that's the menu we cycled through it. We're gonna go to WPS. It's wireless protective setup or something like that, and it's the easiest way to connect this to your router if you have a WPS capable router. So we're gonna hit OK, WLAN enable. You're gonna press down for on or up for off. So we're gonna hit down to turn it on. Then we're going to hit next, and it started to set the WLAN. We're gonna let that go. Our Wi-Fi button is blinking, and I'm going to go over to my router. I have my router right here. I have a Asus RTAC68U. I have a WPS button on the side right here. I'm going to hold that down. My power button is going to start blinking. That's how it works on an Asus. But your router, it may vary. So if you don't know how the WPS button works on your router, you might have to Google that. But now it is connecting my printer to my router just by using the WPS feature. You can see it says connected right here. Now the printer is on the network. That is method number one. In regards to Wi-Fi, if there is no light on this Wi-Fi button, Wi-Fi on the printer is turned off. If it is blinking, it is looking for a signal or it's trying to connect, but it's not connected. And if it's solid green, that means you are connected to the network. This is the second method, how to connect it to Wi-Fi. And we're gonna have to go back into the screen and plug in our Wi-Fi password manually, and I'll show you guys how to do that right now. We're gonna cycle through the menu and get down to network, and then we're gonna hit OK. And it says WLAN. We're going to hit OK again. We're going to scroll down to Setup Wizard, and we're going to hit OK again. WLAN enable, down for on, up for off. We're going to turn it on by pressing down. And now it is searching for your SSID, that's your network name. And it should pop up with a network name. You can scroll through them until you see yours. Ours popped up first. It was Spearsy Town is the name of our network name. If yours doesn't pop up, you can scroll through it and see if it's the second or the third one that it finds. But once you find your network name, you can hit OK. Now it's asking for network key, which we're going to have to type in using these up and down arrows. It is such a pain, but you have to do it. You can't make any mistakes here, otherwise you will not connect to your network. Uppercase and lowercase are sensitive. So I'm gonna type in my password right now. Everything is lowercase. Our password is year of the pig. So I get to the Y and then I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to do my next letter and next letter and next letter. And you guys know how it is. And I'm just gonna fast forward through this real quick as I type in my passwords. Okay, so we typed it all in. It is the biggest pain in the butt of setting this whole entire printer up if you have to do this because your WPS is not working. We typed in our entire password, case sensitive, and we're going to hit OK one more time. I'm going to hit OK one more time. Apply settings. Down for yes, up for no. We're going to hit down. And now it is connecting to that network. It is essentially typing in that password to the router. And as you can see, we got connected here as well as our solid Wi-Fi light. Now that our printer is on our network, I'm going to show you how to install it on each device. Now that our printer is set up on our network, everything's installed, paper, toner, we're going to print from the iPad. This is gonna work with an iPad or an iPhone, any iOS device really. Trick is you need to be connected on your iPad, on your iOS device, on your iPhone to the same network that you connected your printer to. If I go to settings here, we are already on the same Wi-Fi that we set up this printer with. And you'll be able to print documents, shipping labels, whatever you're gonna wanna print with this printer, you're gonna be able to print. We are just gonna be printing an example. I'm gonna show you really quick. It's going to be a document. So you're gonna have to navigate to your document. Maybe it's in a browser, maybe it's downloaded on your iPad, whatever it is. We're going to go to this document. It's this women's workout program that my wife is using. We're going to print, we want this block right here. So we're going to print pages 51 and 52 of this document. So I'm going to go up here to this square with the up arrow. You would do the same thing in a browser, and then you're going to scroll down to print. Now you're going to want to make sure your printer is selected. If it isn't already automatically detected, you're going to tap on printer here and pick your printer. Ours is the HL-L2350DW. Yours may be the same printer or might be slightly different depending on what printer you have. Options, we're going to print double-sided. We're going to save a little bit of paper. That's fine. We're only going to print one copy. That's fine, but I'm going to tap options here and I'm going to go to range. And I'm actually going to just print pages 51 and 52. You're not gonna need to do all of this if you're just printing your entire document. This is strictly showing you a little bit more complicated of a print just for example purposes. I'm going to go back to printer options. As you can see there now, it says range 51 to 52, double-sided, and I'm going to hit print. Now it's going to send the signal to our printer. It's going to use the duplex function, which allows it to print on both sides of the paper. As you're gonna see, it's gonna print it out, and then it's gonna suck it back in, then it's gonna print it back out. And now we have our workout program printed on two sides of the paper. You do not have to install any extra software, any apps. It uses an AirPrint driver that is super easy on iOS devices. That's one of the reasons that I really like this specific model of printer. Now I'm gonna show you how to step-by-step set it up on an Android. This will work for phones, this will work for tablets, it's the same process. You are gonna wanna make sure that your phone or tablet is connected to the same network that we connected the printer to, otherwise this would not work. you're gonna wanna open up Google Play Store, and then up here where you search, you're gonna type in Brother Printer Service plugin or Brother Printer plugin, and it's called the Brother Print Service plugin. You're going to hit install, it's going to download it, and it's gonna install it on your phone. And this basically tells your phone how to print to a Brother printer using what's already existing on the phone, as you'll see in just a little bit. That's all you do. It's a plugin, it's not even an app, so you're not gonna see it installed in your app area. You're only going to see the plugin stuff when you're trying to print a document. So we're going to print I'm gonna show you a kind of different printing option. We're gonna print a shipping label on one of these Priority Mail Label 228s as an example. You can print 8.5 by 11 documents perfectly fine. You could print Word documents, you could print eBay shipping labels on 8.5 by 11 half sheets, you could print all of that. I'm just gonna be showing you this as a little example. It's not the only thing you can print. So I'm going to pull up my document. You can pull it up from a file itself, or you can pull it up in a browser. It doesn't make a difference. You just have to open the file. So I'm going to be opening this 4x6 label, and it's going to be opened with Google Preview, and you can see the document right there. Okay, now I'm going to load my paper into the manual feed tray. I'm going to load it top and face up just like that. I'm going to make it kind of straight, and the printer took the paper. I don't know if you saw it, but it took the paper in a little bit, and now the printer knows that it's going to be printing from that manual feed tray. Back on the phone, 3 dots at the top, we're gonna hit print, and then up here at the top, you're going to have to pick your printer. It's kind of like looking for my printers that are on my network that are unhighlighted. There it is right there, the HL-L2350. It took a second for it to pop up because I think it just has to find it on the network, but I'm gonna select that HL-L2350DW, but it defaults to paper size letter. I'm gonna change that for this specific printing purpose. If I was printing 8.5 by 11, I would leave it as letter, but I am going to change it for this as ISO A6. That ISO A6 is that paper size that I'm gonna be printing. It does give you more options like orientation. You could do two-sided if you're doing two-sided documents. You can change your pages as well. Not really applicable for what I'm doing right here, but you could be using it for whatever purpose you're gonna be using it when you're printing. I'm gonna hit this little print icon down here at the bottom right. Use the Brother Print Service plugin. It's gonna go through a server, okay. And now it's going to send the signal through my Wi-Fi. It says receiving data on the printer. And there we are. Look at that. We have a beautiful Priority Mail label printed on this that we could just take off and stick on a package. Totally just for demonstrational purposes. Maybe I'll make a video specifically about this one in the future. Now that we've installed the printer on the Android using that Brother Print Service plugin, we're going to install the printer on a MacBook Pro. Now we're gonna set this printer up with a MacBook Pro. It will work with a iMac or another Apple computer, not just a MacBook Pro, or work with a MacBook Air as well. First, we're gonna set it up with wireless connection, just through the MacBook without any wires. And then I'm gonna, which I recommend that you do it wirelessly. And then if not, for some reason you're working out of a place where you don't have access to your network and you need to hook it up via USB cable, we're gonna do that with this right here. Unfortunately, this printer does not come with a USB cable, weirdly enough, so you will have to buy one of these, or if you have one laying around the house, I will put a link to this in the description. It's a standard printer USB port. It's USB to USB Type A, I believe. And then for my specific MacBook, because I have USB Type C ports, I have to use this little dongle converter. I will put links to all of these in the description. But with that being said, let's first set this up wirelessly, and we're gonna go into the computer. Here we are on our computer. You're going to want to go up here to your Finder and type in printer, and then printer and scanners will pop up as a top hit. You're going to click on that, and it'll bring up this printers and scanners window. You can also get to that from system preference, a little gearbox down here, and go to printers and scanners. It's the same way to get you to this window. Ignore all of these printers I have installed. We're going to hit the plus button down here, and you are going to want to make sure that you are connected to the same Wi-Fi as your printer. It should pop up right here. As you can see, brother HL-L2350DW, and for your driver, you're going to use AirPrint. You're going to hit add, and it should pop up with a picture of the printer here, and there it is. That's how you install it. Now I'm going to just show you a test print to kind of show you that it works. We're actually going to print a PowerPoint slide. We're going to open it with Keynote, and I'm going to show you a duplex kind of PowerPoint printing trick that I used when I was in school. So here we are. We have a 30-page PowerPoint slide. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Print, and we're going to print grid, two-sided to save paper. We're going to turn off slide backgrounds to save toner, and we're going to do this drop down here, go to page attributes. We're going to make it portrait mode, and then we're going to go back to Keynote and then make it 8 slides per page. There we go. So it's going to be 8 slides. So if I was in a class and needed to print out the PowerPoints because I didn't want to, I don't know, have my laptop to be a distraction in classes, is what I used to do. So we're going to print two-sided, and we're going to hit print. It's going to send the signal to the printer. The printer is going to pull the paper from the paper tray. It's 8.5 by 11. And as you can see, it took the paper, sucked it in, sucked it out, printed double-sided to save paper for my biology class. I'm not actually taking a biology class. This was just for example. All right, now you see how we installed it wirelessly. I'm going to show you how to install it wired if need be. Now we're going to install this with a cord on a MacBook Pro. That cord that we talked about a little bit earlier, here it is. There's a link to it in the description. I have to use a converter for my MacBook Pro. It's a USB-C converter, and the cable that I'm using is just a normal printer cable, USB to USB type A. You're going to turn the printer over. There's one port. You're going to plug that in. These do not come with the printer. It's kind of weird that it doesn't come with this cable. And then we're going to plug that dongle in. Now we're going to take the USB-C end. I'm going to plug it in to my computer, and then I'm going to see you guys on the computer. Okay, here I am on my computer. We're going to have to get to the printers and scanners page. You're going to go up here to the Finder, type in printers and scanners, click on that, and it should bring you up here. For some reason, as soon as I plugged in the printer, it popped up. It installed automatically. I'm not sure if it's because it's such a new printer that the Mac already has the driver pre-installed, or if because I installed it wirelessly earlier for this tutorial that it remembered that and it just knew that I was doing it the same printer with my cord. But mine's there. If yours is not there, hit the plus sign and it should pop up right here with USB. And you can use the AirPrint driver, and then you're going to hit add. We're going to print a test print really quick. So I have turned my Wi-Fi off. I'm going to print this image just to show you that it prints. You want to make sure your printer is picked, the Brother HL-L2350DW. You do have options to print two-sided. This is just one image. You can change portrait, all these things. You can change portrait, you can do landscape. You can scale it if you want to. It gives you a nice little readout here of what it's going to look like. I'm just doing this for an example. It's not the only thing you can print. You can print PowerPoints, you can print documents, you can print shipping labels, you can do all of that. But I kind of want to show you what it looks like when I print a color image on a monochrome printer. And you can see my old YouTube thumbnail right there is printed through a USB cable with this printer. Now we're going to install it on a Windows computer. First thing you're going to want to do is to make sure your computer is on the same network as your printer. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, we are connected, and then we're going to go down here to this little Finder window. We're going to type in printer And this system settings printer and scanner is where you're going to want to click and ignore all these other printers that I have installed. We're going to go up here to add printer or scanner, hit that plus button. And now it's scanning our network and it's scanning for printers, and it found it right here, the Brother HL-L2350DW. I'm going to click on that and then hit add device. It's now connecting to the printer. It's pretty automatic setting this up wirelessly. You don't have to download anything from my experience. Once you find the printer and tell it to add it, Windows kind of goes and finds the drivers and installs it like that. Once that progress bar goes all the way over, our printer is ready. It should pop up down here by printers and scanners. And as you can see, it installed right here, HL-L2350DW. So whenever we're trying to print a document, we can print, so I actually had to restart my computer in order to make it print. Another computer I installed it on, I didn't have to do that. If you're not being able to print, try restarting your computer, but I'm going to show you guys exactly how to print just an example document. I have right here an old seminar syllabus thing that I have pulled up in a doc. I hit this print icon here. Want to make sure that you pick your printer with this drop down, the correct one, the HL-L2350 or whatever series. If you don't see it here, you can hit see more and then pick it from there. Custom range, all pages. You can do multiple copies. You have more settings down here. We're going to do print on both sides, so we save a little bit of paper. And I'm going to hit print. Sending the signal now to the printer. Because it is duplex, it's going to print it out, and it's going to suck it back in, and then it's going to print it on the other side. It's a really, really cool feature for saving paper with this printer. And there we are. We have our example print. It printed perfectly fine. Now we're going to set it up using the cord for if whatever reason your wireless isn't working or you're in an area where you don't have access to a network like that. Just as a backup, it's good to know how to set it up with your cord. So we're going to have to plug this cord into the back here. And then we're going to plug this side in our computer. We did get a little ding from our computer popping up. It recognized some media. So we're going to go here, type in printer and scanners. It installed, it looks like this copy one, it automatically installed. Yeah, I'm unplugging it in and unplugging it, and it's saying offline versus online. Automatically installed as soon as I plugged it in. So this is the, if I want to print to it wirelessly, this is if I want to print to it via USB. So in order to show you guys that it actually is printing, I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi and send the same document job printer, but this time I'm going to have to pick that series one, that copy, which is that USB connection, not the wireless connection. So we're going to printer. Oh, I forgot to do duplex, and then it printed it. It wasted 2 pieces of paper because I forgot to pick duplex, but that's okay. So that's how it works with a wired connection. If for some reason yours does not plug and play work, I will show you one more thing, how to install this printer on Windows, and that is with the Brother driver. If for some reason it's not installing when you plug and play or automatically with your wireless, you can download the driver. You'll pick your operating system. Well, it kind of picks your operating system automatically. It knows that I'm on Windows 10 64-bit, and then I'm going to hit OK. And then you download this full driver and software package and then run it and then kind of go through that software. With that being said, that is the end of this tutorial. If you have any questions about this printer or setup, please put them in the comments section. I thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.